everyone, what's up? This is Simon back today with an Ionic tutorial because I want to cover the latest changes of Angular version 17 and we're going to build a stunning Ionic application using all of the cool stuff from Angular because yes, it is already available with Ionic. So we're going to dive into how we can make the apps faster with ESBuild, how we can use the new control flow, how we can use signals, and overall how we can build a cool modern Ionic application with Angular standalone components. So this is really like you're getting started with Ionic and the latest Angular stuff, and I really hope you enjoy it. As always, you can find the code linked right below this video, so go check it out because there's a lot of interesting stuff going on if you come from previous Angular versions, and we're gonna also use Ionic standalone components. So not only Angular standalone components, but use Ionic header, title, item as standalone components, which means you can import all of them one by one, which you can already do in React in previous versions of Ionic, but now it's also available for Angular. This video is also sponsored by Ionic, so go check it out if you haven't done so before. IonicFramework.com is the framework if you want to build native apps, so really superpowers for all Ionic Angular people, and I hope you enjoy this tutorial. Alright, so let's start our application by running Ionic start as always, followed by the name and the template. I will use the blank template, no tabs or anything today, and the type Angular. Let's hit enter, and the first question you will get is ng modules or standalone. So ng modules is the old way of building Angular applications. Standalone is for the cool kids, so we're definitely going for standalone. Then we'll also install all the other dependencies in our application, and it will automatically enable capacitor, as we can see right here. And we'll use the latest version. I think currently we should install capacitor version 5, although maybe when this goes live, capacitor 6 is already out. I know they aligned their release cycles, so maybe something could have changed. What we soon want to do, or what you could do in the meantime, is also creating an API key for the movie database. This is what we're going to use. I really like to use it as there's a lot of content here. It's a simple API, a lot of visual stuff that you can also include. I've seen many people build and submit applications around using the movie database, and you can just create an account and then go to your somewhere to your settings, I think, or to the profile, and then under API you should find your API key, or you first have to request it, of course, but you should get that for applications like this for testing. So here we go, let's bring it up in our preferred editor. I will use Visual Studio Code as always, and then I will also, of course, zoom in for you. I also heard that I should actually put the editor to the right, so side, is it like side, location, how to, yeah, like this. Okay, so we're really doing all the cool kid stuff today. We could now already run this with Ionic Serve, of course, as always. If this is your first Ionic application, congratulations. You just need like 2 commands to run your cross-platform application, and it pops up in the browser preview. That's pretty neat. There is something that I want to show you right here before we even dive into the code, and that is that we can also use a new way to build our application. Where do I place this now? I don't know, like maybe here? And we're gonna do this to the side? Is that good? I don't know, and this is annoying if it's in the background. So what we want to use is we want to use the Angular's new build system. So Angular can now use, starting with Angular v17 and higher, use ESBuild. And that will make our build actually a lot faster. So I noticed that really when I made changes and the code updated, it became a lot faster. So the way to do this, if this is not yet included in your application, is to go to your Angular JSON and then close all the other stuff you got here. And you should find Architect Build Builder. And Architect Build Builder should be changed to from browser to application. Okay, so I will just change this to application. Now, this brings up a new problem. So property main is not allowed. Instead, you should use browser. Polyfills should now be an array. I really like that I get these warnings. I didn't expect that, to be honest. And then further down under configuration, no, here under development, we see 2 things. Build optimizer is not allowed anymore, and vendor chunk is not allowed. So remove all of that stuff, hit quit, and then let's do an Ionic surf again. And it's building, and whoosh, I think even that was faster than what we've seen before. So now every change should be really, really fast, and we're using the new build system. Congratulations, great. Let's head over to our environment. So I will bring in my API key. Where is my API key actually? Yeah, this is not my API key. Let me find mine. I will of course reset it after this video. So here we go. This is my API key right now. And we can continue by creating some components for our application. So we need a few things. We need a service. So let's generate a service. Nothing has changed. And then we're gonna also do 2 more pages. Let's do a details page and a home defer page. So we do already have a home page, but that defer page will be for an example later, and the details page will be for the details of the movie. But we're gonna start with the actual service. You will also notice that in the past we had a module file here. Where is my app module? It's gone. It's gone with the wind. We don't need it anymore because we got everything that we need included in our standalone components and also in our services, which still look pretty much the same like in the old days. But what we do now is we can inject our HTTP client. We could do it in the traditional way. So we could do private HTTP client and then continue using it, or we could also do it in the new kind of way. Yeah, thanks for that message, Copilot. You could also say private HTTP equals, and then I would remove it from here. You could now also directly use the inject function on the HTTP client. And we're gonna see how we can do this in other files where we inject our services as well. This is usually the preferred way now with standalone components. Now, we do, what was that word? I didn't recognize that word myself. We need 2 movies, 2 functions. Get top rated movies and get movie details. Those will be the 2 functions of our service. And by the way, a quick word on services. What we have in here is something that people in the React world would really love to have actually. So this construct of having a single service that we can inject everywhere in our application, that's pretty epic. Like with React, there are different ways around context and state and how we can handle this. But this pattern, I kind of intentionally draw this as a heart, really. Like I really heart the Angular services. Okay, just as a little idea here. I also want to add something here. Maybe you want to do something with pagination later. So I will set the page to 1 initially. And we really want to add some typings later, but for now we don't really need this. So let's return this .http get as always. And now let's see, we need the base URL and the API key. Let's add this up here above the injectables. So base URL is api.themoviedb.org/3, and we have our environment API key. And now the URL becomes exactly this. So we need the base URL /movie/popular. Then we use the page and our API as query params. And maybe later we're gonna also do a little delay here. For the movie details, it's also kinda easy, but we're gonna pass in an ID here. And then we return something. Yeah, we're gonna get to the typing in a second. Give me some time. But these are the 2 ways how we call the API. Grab your coffee because that's a nice start. Also because right now my coffee is still warm. I really like that. What we see here is the home page. So here we go. We have a standalone component, which means this page has no module file. Also, what this means is we're not importing everything, or we don't want to import everything. This is new with Ionic, version 7.5, I think. We can now have all of these just like with React. So with React, this was already possible in the past, but we can now add only the HTML components that we want to use. So we're not using like the Ionic common module as a big import and import everything. We instead use these as imports, and you see this up here, from the Ionic Angular standalone package here in our Angular application. This becomes a bit messy over time, you will see, but on the other hand, your applications get smaller, will load faster and whatnot. So we need our service injected in here. Let's probably call this movie service. As I said, I want to use Inject, and I want to inject the movie service. Just make sure you get the import right from services, movie service. And now I really just want to load the movies. Let's see, because I want to add the typing as well, and for that I need some result. Yeah, that's actually a good start. Get top rated movies, something, and we're gonna do this in the constructor. So now we should actually see an error. Great. No provider for HTTP client. Yeah, I knew. I kind of felt like I forgot to add the HTTP client at some point. That is because we have to go up here. So we don't have the app module anymore, which we had before, where we added like the bootstrapping stuff, but we do have the main TS file. So that one gets a bit more love today. In here we have provide Ionic Angular, which is the setup, and we have the provide router, which provides the routes. Also, what we want to enable is, let's see, can we add this with component input binding? So this is pretty cool. We're gonna see, no, I don't, this does not need an import. We're gonna see how this works later when we get to the details page. Basically, it means we can easily bind the parameters that we send to that page to an object on that page. I will explain it more once we get there. But more important, we need provide HTTP client. So this is in standalone applications how we inject our HTTP client, and now the error here is gone. Now I will also copy this object because I want to create some types. So we see this is the result. Let's do a new file next to the services. Let's call this interfaces.ts. You can usually also have a full folder of interfaces, and I think I have something like JSON to TypeScript convert from clipboard. So that's pretty neat, which converts everything that I got from that page into this. I will call this API result, and this is a movie result. And to make it available, I will also export these interfaces. So we're really creating professional grade applications with latest Angular and TypeScript, and now we can go back to the service and also add our types in here. So this one, get top rated movies, is now an observable, and we're gonna get back, yes, an API result. Yes, we also have to include it in here to make sure we get that. Okay, nice. Additionally, I felt, okay, that import is okay. Oh, we don't have the movie details yet. Well, well, can you trust me on something? Once we get there, I just want to close that file and be done with it. Or actually, I think this is just a movie result, right? This should just be a movie result because we get one movie. Let's see, movie result. And then we're gonna add it, oops, up here as well. I think that's correct. Do I have like something to test? Can I just use some ID? Oppenheimer should be a movie, I assume. So let's see, I wanna do a test here. Give me the get movie details, and I'm gonna pass this as an ID. Yes, this gives me one movie with the Oppenheimer result. I think this is correct. Cool. Okay, good. That's a good start. So, we have a service, we have injected this stuff. Now it's time to get some more data here on this page. So we're gonna implement infinite scroll. I think it's infinite scroll, yeah, for our pagination. So we're gonna have a load more function, which will get an event, which is the infinite scroll. No, it's not it's not an HTML. It's the infinite scroll custom event, but I can usually import that. Hello? Why am I not getting this? So the infinite scroll custom event, did I have a typo in here? No, I don't think so. It's just not figuring this out. So this comes from our standalone package as well. Just add it up there. And then we have the correct event. So that means we're gonna keep track of a little page here. So let's set this up. Private current page equals, oh, is the first page 0 or 1? I'm not sure. I think it's actually 1. I think this is like how the API works. Then we're gonna also have an error message. So I'm gonna set that to null. We're gonna keep track of is loading, so we can display something pretty cool in our page. And then we also need, of course, our array of movies. So private movies, and I also would like to have the image base URL so we can display images. You can also keep this somewhere else, but I will just keep it in here for now. So let's start. Load movies starts by setting the error back to null in case something went wrong before. And if we don't have something, we should probably also pass this event through, because after loading the movies, I'm gonna make this optional here. After loading movies, we're gonna have to set that up. Oh no, we're not gonna do it like this. If we don't have an event, we will display the loading. Why only in that case? Because if we do the infinite scroll, like we are at the bottom, I don't want to show another loading spinner. Like it shows already down there, that's enough. But if the app loads and we don't have any data, I definitely want to show something in the loading state. Then we're going to use our movie savers finally to get the top rated movies using our current page. And I will not yet subscribe to it. I'm actually going to add a pipe block in here. And then I'm going to subscribe. But in the pipe block, I want to check that once we're done, so finalize. At that point, I want to set the this dot is loading back to false. Okay, and then we can close this already here. Well, yeah, I kind of like the recommendation. So if we do have an event, we're gonna complete this for infinite scroll. On top of that, next to finalize, I would also like to catch any error. So if we get any error at this point, I would like to set my error to the error, but I would like to do something else. So let's try, I'm going to lock the error, and as far as I know, it should be, let's do this any, and then we have error dot status message, gonna lock that to error. Okay, do we get the movie? Yeah, we subscribe already. In subscribe, by the way, we can also use the new syntax. So the new syntax, I mean new since, it's been quite some time, but this is basically it. So you're gonna have an object, as you can see, we're opening an object here, and then you have next in here. That's pretty much the same point now where you got your result, and then you can do something with that result, but it's just a new way to do this. I will now push the results to my movies. So this dot movies dot push. I will push all the results to the movie. Why are you mad? Because, okay, yeah, TypeScript, let's see, movies. Actually, this should be an array of movie results, shouldn't it? I think it should look like this. Yeah, I think that should be. We're calling event target complete up here, so we're prepared for our infinite loading. And I think we should add one more block. So if we do have an event, then I want to say event target dot disabled in case the result, oh, I don't have the result at that point. Do I have it? No, I don't think so. Well, we can do it down here. If we do have an event, I want to set event target dot disabled to, okay, let's say true. So what we want to do is, hello, oh yeah, I put this outside, I'm sorry. That basically means if we've reached the end of the movie results of the pagination, then I want to disable my infinite loading. But we can do this by changing this to checking if the result total pages is equal to our current page. So let's put in a little look so we know that we got something in place. We see, so here is total pages. Okay, we probably won't get to the end of those pages in this video unless I'm doing like a Mr. Beast style video where I refresh and paginate for 10 hours, but we're not going to do this. We are prepared with a very clean component. We got nice TypeScript, we got our inject stuff in place, and we can now continue our journey on the actual, let's close a few things here, on the actual home page. So have many things changed? Well, not really. In terms of the HTML, not a lot has changed. We can still build our Ionic views as we did in the past. I will clean this up a bit, but in terms of the syntax, a lot has changed. So we can kick this off by using the new Angular control flow. And it looks like this. And we even get completion at this point because Angular 17 is out, and we can do this. So if we're loading, we can do something. This basically replaces the ngIf. Also, we notice is loading is set to private. That's probably a bad take if you want to use it in your HTML. Okay, better. In that case, I want to display like some sort of dummy loading or like skeleton views. So I will set up a little dummy array with 5 elements, so just we can iterate them. I think we can actually do this somehow inline as well, but well. Okay, that means if I want to do like a skeleton here, I would usually use an ng4. Nope, not today. Today is not the day for ng4. Today is the day for 4. We're gonna use an ion list component in our isLoading. First thing we notice, ion list is not a known element, and this is where things probably gonna get a bit annoying for you, as we need to add all of this stuff that we use in here to our imports. So ion list goes here, and usually the automatic imports works pretty well. In this case, of course, it didn't, and then you can use ion list. Now we can use add4, which is the new syntax for ng4. You can of course still use ng4, no problem with that, but many people like the new control flow, so we're gonna use this as well. For I of dummy array, and we always have to specify what we track by. So with ng4 that was kind of optional, but now this is a requirement. Now I just want to render some items in here, and we see I bring in something, and as far as I know, the Ionic team is working on making this stuff better. So once you add it in here, it should like add the import to your homepage. Right now we need to memorize, so item, avatar, and skeleton. So let's see if we can do this. Ion item, I don't know why it's not working at all. Ion item, ion skeleton, ion avatar. And all of that stuff now goes straight to the list here. And you see those lists are getting longer. But we should see something. We saw it very shortly, very briefly. Let's fix that. Let's simply do something about this. So I have an idea. I would like to add a delay here in my top rated movies. So I will add a little pipe block. Can you please just start a new line and then use delay. We're gonna delay this by, I don't know, 5 seconds. We're currently working anyway on this, so let's hit save. And we see our cool skeleton view appear for about 5 seconds until we get the result, which means our new control flow works perfectly. We got the if, we got the for. We can also do an else if, of course. So else, we're gonna do add else, still getting used to this. If we do have an error, I wanna show this in here. And we can do this with an ion alert, and because we're really cool people, we're using an inline alert. Nobody's using the alert controller anymore. So header error message, we can actually use the error message. So make sure you put it in here. This is still one thing I don't really like about Angular. A little rant here is if we use these brackets, that I then put my variable into a string. So I would rather have something like this, really. Everyone, React, Svelte, everyone is using it like this. And if we do it like this, we could also just have So this is just fictional. This is not working. I kind of just want to have it like this. This would honestly feel better to me, but maybe in the future. Right now, we're going to have message and error buttons. I think this needs to be an array, doesn't it? Okay. And I don't know, my headset is complaining about something the whole time. And we of course have to say is open. We're gonna set this to true. So this will anyway only be rendered once we hit that block. And again, it's red because we need to add Ion alert. I swear previously I could at least add the stuff just directly in here and I don't have to type it twice. But anyway, should work. Error is also private. I really like all the pretty and the TypeScript messages we get at this point. This really feels really good. How can we test our error? Well, pretty easy. I will just remove my API key. And then after a delay, we see error invalid API key. You must be granted a valid API key. Only problem is that buttons did not really work because I typed it wrong. Okay, and now we have the OK button. Cool. So this is our starting point. I will also make sure that I fix this. And then we have the first stuff. We have the loading and we have the else. One note, in the end, we're going to talk about a defer block, which is even cooler than what we do right now. But this is just a first glimpse of what we can do with the new Angular control flow. Some people might like it, some people might not. You can decide for yourself. Oh, definitely still like that coffee. Now let's implement the actual list. I think I can probably copy this over. Ion list for item of movies. And now I want to track by item.id. So I want to track by the actual movies. Why did I set everything to private? Like that was the worst idea ever. I don't know. Okay, we have an Ion item. Lines, I don't know, yeah, probably we're gonna have some lines actually. And of course, in the slot of the starting item, we will now use an image and the source will be set to, is that correct? I kind of feel like it's not correct. I think the correct way would be to use my image base URL plus, and this is now because I knew what I was doing here, with 92, so it's not super big, plus, and then the actual item poster path. But now you messed up something, right? Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. Okay. Okay, we're good. ng property movies is private. Yeah, let's hit save everywhere and let's get rid of that 5-second delay here. That's a really horrible idea for debugging. Okay. Oh, voila! We have something. We have a list of movies. Why can't I scroll? I can. Oh, because we're not in the actual... Yeah, if I would in this preview, I can scroll with my hand. Nice. That's good. That's a good start. So we're getting the movies and we're displaying them now in the correct list. For the text here, I will not use an Ion skeleton, but actually an Ion label with text wrap. So we have the item title and the release date. And two more problems. We need to add the import for Ion label, and we also need to figure out how we can add the date pipe, because with standalone components, that stuff is just not included. Ion label. Why? Can I just start at the start of the list? Does it maybe Ion label? Nope, no chance. Nobody likes that. I don't know what's going on. All right, Ion label, and then we need our pipe as well. Where can we get the pipe from? We should get this from date pipe from Angular Commons, so you can import the pipes one by one. As a result, we should now see the dates confirmed really nicely here. What is this? Oh, I haven't seen that before. That's nice. You can dynamically change the view. That's really cool. Thank you. Thank you, Chrome. But this is not everything. So once we click on something, I want to route somewhere, and you already hear it from the word. That means we need the router as well. And therefore, let's add the router in here as well. Actually, not the router, but the router module. That makes more sense. Do we need anything else? We have the button, we have an item list loading. I think we should probably have everything. So let's put it onto the item. This should be a button, so we can just call it Ion item button. And for the router link, nothing has really changed in the past. We still construct the router link like it is. We want to route to /details, and we're going to pass in the item.id in the URL, which means if I go to something, we get a match error because details. Oh, I don't want that one. How did I get to that line tool? Oh no, that's interesting as well. I really would like to get my good drawing tool back. Can you please give me my tool? I want to use the brush tool, thanks. So this is wrong here. I mean, it's correct. We want to go to details / something, but we haven't correctly implemented that yet. Let's get to that in a second. We just want to wrap this up. I can probably put in a little badge also in the end slot. And again, we go here and add the Ion badge and then add it down here. And again, I can just tell you that A, it worked better when I tried it out before. And B, that the Ionic team is certainly working on something to make that process a bit better. Now, if you also want to add like an fallback for when you have no results, you can do this as well. You can just do this so with @empty. That's pretty cool. The Angular team has really thought about different use cases, and I only want to use this actually if I'm not loading. Okay, so you really have to get careful with those brackets. It's getting kind of out of hand at some point. But if we're not loading and we don't have data, I will just display no movies found. Can we fake that? I don't know. How can we fake that? That's a good question. I haven't considered that. So we need to make a valid call with a valid API key. What if I just map the result to an empty array for fake reasons? Huh? How does that sound? Let's do this. Map RxJS. I want to map everything to an empty result. Happy debugging. Oh no, property result does not. It's a type. It's still an. It's a movie result array. Can you feel it? Come on. Hey, I know something. Can we do it like as_const? Somebody recently told me as_const is usually good. Come on. I will just not push it to my array and I will remove that. I would just want to show you that if the loading has finished, we actually see that no movies found. So @empty is another thing that you can use for empty list, which just makes it easier to construct the flow in your page. Okay. This is actually almost everything. We still need the loading down there. So after all of our lists, we can add the Ion infinite scroll. And of course, let's go back and do the good old dance in here. Ion infinite scroll and also Ion infinite scroll content. Exactly. Those two go up there. Map is not required. That was just a fakie, and put it on here. Now we just need to implement the Ion infinite scroll. So once we hit it, we can trigger with Ion infinite. Oh no, I messed this up. Oh no. Okay, we're fixed. We can trigger our load more and pass in the event. This is also something, well, we got code. The syntax highlighting works pretty well, but I don't like passing the objects in strings here. Okay, then we can have something in the infinite scroll. Actually, you can use the default, or you can put in something for the loading spinner in the text. So let's give it a try. I'll put it here so you can actually see it. Let's go down, and it's loading more data. See here. Do we still have like the 5-second delay, or? Oh, we're not. Are we increasing the page? Oh. Oh my, this is a classic. We should probably add some sort of implementation. So yeah, let's up the current page by 1 and then call load movies. That makes more sense. Let's try it again, and we see I have no infinite scroll. We see page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And all of that stuff is added to my array. And I can go there. Where's Paw Patrol? I've seen it, the Mighty Movie. Actually, that one wasn't too good. Do you think so? I don't know. Okay, that means HTML here is done. We come back to this later for a little additional defer thing. For now, let's head over to our details page, because on that details page, I want to work a little bit with signals to show you something new on top of the stuff we've seen, and also to work. What is this? Why is it red? I haven't done anything. Lifecycle. Okay, lifecycle management shouldn't even. That's fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, we follow the same scheme first of all. Let's add the movie service. So inject the movie service like we did before. Can we just... Sometimes Copilot is just not smart enough to figure that out. It's the movie service. I've used the movie service about a few times now. Okay, that was the problem, of course. And additionally, I want to have the public image base URL again. And finally, I want to have the movie. So I want to have a movie. I could just now keep this as a movie in here, as the Copilot completion gave us. But I want to make this in a different way. Why? Because I want to show you signals. Signals are powerful ways to manage state and changes of our values in our page. We've used it, I think, with the Ionic SQLite tutorial. There, it made even more sense. In this scenario, it's questionable how much sense it makes, but I still want to show you that it's really quite easy to use. So we're going to use a writable signal in here. And that writable signal will be of the type movie result. So we're going to either have a movie result or null. And we're going to initialize it as a signal from Angular core with null. All right, that's it. Now, we also want to define an input for this, because we're getting to the details page with an ID. So let's define an add input here. Okay, add input. And I will now also define a setter. So this is called immediately when the page loads. This is pretty cool. So set for ID, or set my ID, that's how you could tell it. This is the movie ID, which is a string. And once we get there, we're gonna load the data from the movie service. So we can just say this dot movie service, get movie details for my movie ID. And once I get this, I will set this to my signal. So this is the way how we update our signal. Just call the signal.set. You can also do something else. But set is usually what we want to do. Also, I will add a lock here so we see that something is going on. So let's give this a try. I go to Oppenheimer and we cannot match that. Okay, yeah, we haven't specified the actual route. That is pretty okay. That bug is my issue. So let's go back to our app routes. We haven't touched that file, I think, simply because all of our routes were initially created and automatically the details in the home defer page were added. Now let's add in here wildcards so we are able to get the ID value from the URL. Hit save, and then let's check again. If I now go to Oppenheimer, let's see. Yeah, then I'm on the details page. So we can confirm up here we have the ID. And we also see from the details page, we actually get the data. So this is the data for the Oppenheimer movie. And because we used, where did we use it? In the main TS, right? This is where I come back with component input binding. This enables binding information from router state directly to the inputs of the component in route configuration. This is pretty cool. So we see this. Now, there's actually not really any great example of this. But by doing it like this, we can simply add the import and get the value from the URL in here. It just makes things a lot easier, just like most of the new Angular stuff. What we want to do additionally on this page is pretty interesting. I also would like to use Ionic cons, and they also changed a bit if you want to use them as standalone components. So usually, you just use the Ionic cons, you import everything. That's not how it works anymore. If you want to use standalone components, here's how you can do it. So first, you import the ones that you actually need, like cache outline or calendar outline. And then you import the add icons function from Ionic. And within your constructor, you now call this once. You now call add icons once, and you pass in the icons that you want to use on that page. Seems like more effort, but again, it will make, in the end, your applications faster and smaller, and that's what we want. Now, on this page, we can, again, create that view just like we did before. However, I don't want to go to full length with the imports again. So I will add my imports already up front. These are the imports we need here, and I will just replace this now so it's fixed. We're basically using, again, a bunch of Ionic tool items here. And then we have the currency pipe and the date pipe included as well for some fancy behavior. So on that page, let's get into it. Header will be changed to use the movie title instead. So we got this, and we can go Five Nights at Freddy. Looks good. Now on that page, I need to use my signal. So we're gonna wrap all of this in the control flow, add if. And if you want to get the value of it, you're gonna have to use it like this. It's kind of ugly, so I don't want to use it like this all the time, so I can say as again. We could do this in the past as well. I just want to make this a bit easier, so we can now just use movie. And with that, we can now create that view. It's actually not too spectacular. I will just bring in something and then we can talk through this. And I wonder how it's possible that I get some errors on this line here. Property tag line does not exist on type movie result. That is an interesting observation, and I wonder how that's possible. Honestly, how is that possible? I use the same. Let's go to the interfaces and let's see something. I'm gonna paste something down here, JSON to TypeScript. So this should be the actual, okay, yeah, let's use this instead then as a movie result. Will this make us mad? I don't know. Okay, so I'm using the result here from the details call. Okay, better. That's a lot better. So yeah, that call seems to have more information. So I use the object, which you can just neatly do in the debugging. So just right click, copy object. And then again, using the extension, which is I think JSON to TypeScript, in case you're asking. Yep, JSON to TypeScript. That's the extension I'm using here, which allows you to quickly transform your JSON into the TypeScript interfaces. Okay, good. Let's put it back to the side and let's check out what we got. Basically, we just have a little card here. So we have a card where we use the background image, again using our image URL, the poster. Then we have a card header with title and tagline, which is Five Nights at Freddy. Then we have a little iteration again. So again, using inline instead of ng4, the add for control flow right here, which will give us this horror mystery iteration here. Again, if you use it, use track. You have to use track, and you can still use the stuff like before, like is last equals last, to check if something is the last element, and then either render a dot or render nothing. Okay, so something's changed, something is new, something is still like it was before. Below in the card content, so this here is pretty much all the content you see here, but nothing really fancy going on. We have the movie overview, we have the Ion icon now used. Usage is completely the same. You just need to make sure you import the Ion icon, and you need to set it up correctly in the page in the constructor as we did. I can of course now also go to a different movie, The Hunger Games. I don't know these movies. Where's the Paw Patrol movie? Wasn't it somewhere? I've seen it before. Damn, I can't see it anymore. What has been seen? So, little exercise for you watching this. I highly recommend you implement a search bar and also add search, because that's pretty cool, and you can also use signals for that. Why can't I find Paw Patrol? There it is. Ah, Sky, what's going on? Oh, that's a nice budget. I'm sure they made that back. Anyway, there's one more thing I wanted to show you. So we've seen already the new control flow, ESBuild, how we inject stuff, routing, component inputs, signals. But there's also one more thing. Let's head over to the home page, and I will grab everything from the home TS and place it in the defer page. That is a horrible idea because it replaces everything. So I'm gonna have to fix that in a second. So this is home defer. This is probably app home defer. And this is home defer, right? So, okay, I hope I fixed this correctly. Now I will tweak my routing a bit and say it should redirect to home defer in the default case. Instead of going home, and I broke something in here still. Okay, I think it works now. Let's see if I go, it redirects me to home. Nope, I don't want that. I wanted you from the default path to redirect me to home defer. Oh, yeah, I know. We need to make sure that this is the home defer page. And here we go. Okay, now we're on the home defer page. What I want to show you is how we can change our HTML to use the new defer block. So with the defer block, we can make sure that we're not even loading the stuff. Can we show this in like before and after? I think we can. We just need to fake it a bit. So I will add a very long delay in here. So like 60 seconds long. What's wrong? Yeah, okay. If we now go to our default page here, okay, it's loading very long. It's loading 60 seconds. So I got 60 seconds to debug this. This means I have already the ion list. So we have the ion list with the skeleton loading stuff up here, but we also have the list rendered already. It's empty, but still there could probably be more items included already. So it is rendering this list in more. Now, the difference comes if we use a defer block. If we use a defer block, that rendering won't happen. Let me show you. Let's take everything from the HTML as well and put it into the defer page as a starting point. Now what we do is I will place an add defer around this. So this will only display when we are not loading anymore. All right. So when we're not loading anymore, I wanna show my cool stuff. Actually, the infinite scroll can also be included in that part, right? Yeah, I think so. I think it could. Oh, I feel like I placed it in the wrong. Let's see. I messed that up a bit. So I will keep that first part up here with the loading stuff for now. Or let's get rid of it because it's confusing you. So we just start with add defer. When we're not loading, we're gonna display my list of items. That's still the fact. So we're gonna put everything in here. However, if we're loading, we got different like slots available. So we got a placeholder that is displayed while this is not yet rendered. In our case, the placeholder should be our ion list with the skeleton stuff. So just like before, for whatever. Additionally, we can have an add error. So if any error in the defer block happens, we can render it here. Okay, so let's see. We're gonna just put in the error we had before. And finally, we can also have something for the loading. Now that loading is interesting. It doesn't mean the loading of your HTTP call. It means the transition from the placeholder state to the actual defer block state. All right, for that transition. And to show you that, because in many cases it will be pretty fast, but if you load something or have to create a lot of stuff in that place, it might take a few like 500 milliseconds and people are gonna notice it. So I will just say for the transition here, we have a minimum of 1 second to be displayed. And I will just show something like I am transitioning, or let's do a minimum of 2 seconds. Okay, good. So first, let's hit save and let's see that we get to that page. So home defer is loading for 60 seconds because we created it like that. If I now try to debug that page, we're gonna see we have the Ion list, but that's it. There's no infinite scroll on this page. There's no other container. Everything that's here in this defer block is not yet rendered. And that is the cool thing about this defer block. And you can save a lot of bandwidth with this approach if you use it in a smart way. So it's not something async or specific happening here. It's just that we defer this, and you can't use this as an ng-if thing. You can't just switch it on. If you like, if this completes, it will show this stuff. However, we also see the placeholder is working. The error is probably also working. And I would also like to see the transition in action. So let's make this a bit smaller again and put it to the side. And I will use a delay of like 5 seconds now instead. Well, let's see. 3, 4, 5. I'm transitioning. And here we go. So these are the different states that we now went through with our defer block. We had the loading state while we had no data. It just rendered our fallback component. Then we had our block with, so the placeholder, what that, we've seen error, not really, but we don't have to. And this loading is not the loading of the HTTP call, but the actual transition when your page loads from that previous state to the deferred state. And you can put in anything you want that makes sense. I don't know what makes sense exactly. You're gonna have to figure that out for yourself. But that's just something additionally that I wanted to show you that will make your Ionic ML applications even faster. And you've seen with our ESBuild, this is blazing fast. Every change that we do is really blazing fast, and I highly recommend that you try it out. Ionic with Angular 17 is like being on steroids. Alright, and that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this build. It actually became a lot longer than expected, but I really wanted to talk you through all the changes that happened to Angular, the new control flow, the new stuff you can use, signals and ESBuild and whatnot, because there's even more after the Angular Renaissance than just the logo and the new page at angular.dev, which you should, by the way, definitely check out if you're new to Angular. All of this is now also immediately available with Ionic, so you can build powerful Ionic capacitor applications using the latest Angular version, and that makes me really happy. On top of all the things that Ionic usually implement, this is really cool. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and hit the subscribe button, and of course check out the Ionic Academy, which is my place still to help you with everything Ionic, with tons of videos and courses that you can go through as a member. I hope you can build some epic apps with Ionic and Angular 17, and I will catch you in the next video. So until then, happy coding, Simon.